And it says we are live. Hey, it's Brian Johnson. It is so good to be back today with you. And listen, if you've ever dreamed about YouTube success, if you ever thought it sounds so exciting, but I'm just not sure, it seems so overwhelming, well, then this live stream is one you're absolutely going to want to stay tuned for. I've got a very special guest that is absolutely crushing it. So I just want to say hello to Ken, Adventures in the Dirt. Good to see you. Office Cooking. What is going on? There is Tony, Simplify Gardening. All the cool cats are coming in. Say hello. Let me know where you're coming from. How's the audio? How's the picture? It is great to be here. I am really excited. Again, we have a special guest. Looks like we're live. That seems to be pushing fine. Office Cooking, hello, good to see you. So this is why you really want to watch this live stream or replay if you're catching the replay. Again, I've got a special guest today that is someone who is absolutely just generating tremendous results on YouTube. Imagine being able to generate 3 million plus views, 3 million views a month. Are you kidding me? Absolutely insane. And even more so, she's going ahead and she's gaining subscribers at a ridiculous rate. 20,000 subscribers a month. More than that. I can't wait to get into it. I want to do this. We're going to bring on my special guest in 1 or 2 minutes. I do want to say thank you so much for Opus Clip for sponsoring this video. Opus is such an amazing tool, and I'm really excited to see how it takes this live stream and cuts it up into shorts or little short, long form videos. This is a tool that I've been using for a long time now. I'm a brand ambassador, just grateful for having them sponsor this live stream. And it is great to see so many cool people in the house. Welcome, old camera guy from Ohio. Good to see you. And there's Eric dropping by to say hi. Nice to see the purple shade. Yes, we've got the purple in the background. Let's do this. We've got 25 people here. Let's get this party started. I want to introduce Gabby. I am so excited. Our guest has been, like I said, really focused on YouTube for so long, and I know she can help you to move forward, kick down the door of opportunity, and announce your arrival wherever life may take you. Ladies and gentlemen, Glam Girl Gabi. I just think of her as Gabby. Gabby, it is so great to have you here. Welcome. Goodness, it is about time we made this happen.
I know. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so honored. Can I start this live stream off by telling your viewers a little story about us?
I think I just said that's a great story. And there's Bert Grimm. All the cool cats are coming in. There is Rachel. All my friends, come on in, people. Absolutely, Gabby. Let's hear this story about how we connected. And how many years ago was this? Like, because the earth was cooling, the dinosaurs were roaming the earth. Like, let's hear it.
Yeah. So about 5 years ago, or maybe 4 years ago, I still love your channel, but I was like a diehard fan, like a big time 10 out of 10 fan. And I would watch you every single morning in my bathroom. I'd bring my laptop to my bathroom. And while I did my makeup every morning, I would watch you. This is when I had, 200 subscribers, 300 subscribers. And I just kept thinking, I gotta do what he does. I gotta speak like he speaks. And I would try to like recreate your thumbnails, but beauty version. You were like the biggest source of inspiration for me. And I remember I ended up sending you a message on Facebook thinking like, this guy's gonna not even respond. And you voice messaged me back and you said, keep going. And this is what you should do. And try this and try that. And I was like, what? I was so starstruck. And it's so funny how that, it was yesterday, and then I'm here on your channel now, and I'm just so honored that you asked me, and I'm really thankful to be here.
Gabby, please let me let you know how honored I am to have you here. And you might be wondering, if you're watching, well, what's the big deal about Gabby? Gabby, in 30 seconds, tell me the short of your channel, how many views, how many subscribers, where you're at, talk about the money, what's happening.
Yeah, the channel's been doing exceptionally well. So I'm a beauty channel and I create content that helps women feel better and I give them the tools to be able to do that for themselves. So I try to teach women to fish instead of giving them a fish. For my whole life I was a makeup artist. I'd go into the studio or onto set or just with individual clients and I would do things that would help them make them feel better, but I always felt like I do it for them, but I need to teach them how to do it for themselves so that every morning they can spend 5-10 minutes and feel so much better about themselves, right? So I created this
Man.
channel for that. And it started off as something that I made to help my clients. So when my clients would ask me questions, how did you do this? How did you do that? Because it's such a visual thing, I would try to explain it over text. I couldn't get it, to resonate. So I'd say, watch this video. I made this video about that question. I made this video. And eventually the channel started getting a lot of traction. And now it's my full-time career. And so it's what's really cool about our channel. I say our because we have a team now, but we translate all of our videos into 60 plus different language subtitles. So it's become a global channel. And we also do AI dubbing. And so the AI technology that I use actually learned my voice and it dubs my voice into French, German, Spanish, Portuguese. Yeah, so we're on those 4 languages now. So every video is dubbed into multi-languages and we have multi-language subtitles. So we've grown a really global audience. And last month we got over 30,000 new subscribers. We're averaging 3.5 to 4 million views per month. And that's only with releasing 4 to 6 videos a month. So
Wow, that's incredible. Absolutely
yeah.
incredible. And so neat to hear your story because, like I said, I've known of you for a long time and you've watched my videos. And I think one of the things that is so heartening for me, is that the right way to say it, is just the community that really exists online and seeing so many people come in and struggle and just wonder, is it possible? And there you were, sending those messages. And I do, like I mentioned to my viewers and my subscribers, first off, I'm just like you. I am always trying to figure this stuff out. Like, this is the first time I've had a guest and we're just like, it might break at any moment, and that's okay because
Yeah.
it's just a live stream, it's just a video. And to see you succeed is just absolutely fantastic. I have a couple questions here. So first off, I think you just covered this, how many views and subscribers, so we'll pass up on that one. How
Mhm.
many years have you been focused on YouTube? And here's the important part. I'd like to know kind of the scope of your journey and your channel on YouTube, and tell me a little bit what the first year was like.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think it's one that we often look at bigger creators and we get so intimidated by their success and think that it's impossible for us. So I've been on YouTube for 5 years and I was all in from day one. I was like, I want to do this. I love this. When I started making videos for my clients, I got this massive passion for it and I was all in. And I had a salon at the time. I worked full time. I had a bridal team that I managed. I had quite a large business that already took up 40 hours of my week or more. I was working 6 days a week. And then I did YouTube in the middle of the night when my kids were sleeping. I did it. I would work at the very minimum 10 to 20 hours on my channel. That was weekends, Sundays. I wouldn't go out with friends because I'd be working on the channel. I became like obsessed. And I think when people want to get success on the platform, they just think it's easy, and it's not easy because there's an enormous learning curve. So my first year on YouTube, working 20 hours or more on the channel a week, I got 1,000 subscribers in an entire year, and I never ever missed an upload ever. So that was 1
Okay.
to 2 long form videos a week.
I think this is an important moment where we just need to punctuate this. So first off, you focused on YouTube with a full-time job with kids, working 6 days a week, putting in the time, attention, and the focus. And
Yeah.
you did that over a year. And at the end of a year, you had a whopping, you said 500,000. No, you didn't have 500,000 subscribers. You didn't have 50,000 subscribers like so many of us. Like
Yeah.
we start on the YouTube streets and they're brutal and they're hard and it's challenging. And like you probably never had any self-doubt though, right?
Oh, I went through waves of despair, really. It was I'm not even being dramatic. Like I was exhausted and I kept thinking like, why am I doing this? I'm taking time away from my friends, my husband, my kids. I don't have any social life. I don't have any hobbies. And for nothing, I was spending money to get all these products to review these things. So I was in a deficit. I wasn't even breaking even. You know what I mean? Like if you want this, you need massive amounts of resiliency because it's not something that comes easily for most people.
Boy, I absolutely love that. And my journey was the same. I've told the story so many times. And coming up with Nick Nimmin, like that was the luck of the draw. And he's my dude and we're pals. And Daniel Patel, really great friends with Daniel. And just want a special shout out to Daniel. I know you've worked quite a bit with Daniel, and I think that's
Oh, yeah.
wonderful. And everybody grows at a different rate. And the fact that you stayed in the game, uploading, I think you said 4 videos a month.
I did at least 1 to 2 a week. So yeah, like
Oh my
between
God.
4 and 8.
Between 4 and 8 videos every single week for 1 year to get 1,000 subscribers. Like if
Yeah.
you're watching, I just want to know how bad do you want it? The other thing I want to punctuate, which you mentioned, is it's kind of like the learning curve. And I like to think of it as a skill-based game. And with that, talk about that a little bit, and then we'll get into my next question, which kind of leans into that. But what do you think about like the skills that need to be learned, and what was that process like for you?
Yeah, so this is what makes YouTube so hard. So I was a makeup artist and I was very good at makeup. I've been doing makeup for almost 2 decades. And so I kept thinking I could show this, and this is the problem, right? It's not just about being a makeup artist. You have to be a sound specialist because if your videos have bad sound, no one will watch. You have to be a lighting technician because it needs to be really well lit, especially in the beauty industry. Without perfect lighting, the makeup doesn't even look the same. You need to understand cameras. You need to understand camera settings. But then beyond all of that, then you have to be an on-camera personality. So you need to understand how to hook someone, how to write a proper script, how to talk, how to read from a script without sounding like you're reading. Because if there's no script, it's too slow and your average view duration goes up. But if it's too scripty, then it sounds like a robot and then your average view duration goes down. You know what I'm saying? And then beyond that, you have to be a graphic designer to design your thumbnails. And you have to be like a writer to write a phenomenal title. But the title also needs to have keywords that are searchable. So you also need to understand keywords and analytics and data. So it's like 17 different jobs in one job.
Don't forget the editing.
And then there's all the editing. So that's right. There's editing too.
So
and
easy.
You have to understand human psychology and behavior because you have to understand what's hooking them, what's keeping them, why are they dropping here? When are they, how can I change it so they don't drop? There's a lot, but not only that, that would be a lot, even if you're doing 1 video a month. Yeah. But you need to also do that a bajillion times, like over and over and over. So it's just crazy,
It is unbelievably challenging, and the amount of learning that goes in. And for me, it's really fun. Like I'm in the studio now, which like this studio, I was so excited, but there's a lot of challenging things that I didn't know, even with my experience. So when I came into my new home and got into this new space, and there were things that was pissing me off with my old lighting, and I wanted a new look, which is kind of the same, but it just goes to show you just how many things there really are to learn. And for me personally, One Color Rainbow, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really, really appreciate that. Just wanted to call that out. The thing, Gabby, that you mentioned is the psychology of a viewer. And for me personally, I think there's 2 or 3 things that really fall in line with that. And I'm so interested in the psychology of human beings, just day to day, how we interact, how we show up, how we hold ourselves, how we communicate non-verbally, what we say with our body language. For me, it was like learning to tone it down. I'm, so comedic and fun, but it was so over the top. And I had to learn that the viewer for me is information first, but then entertain me. And finding that balance is hard. Talk about
Yeah.
the psychology. Like for you, what does that mean? How can some of the viewers here think about psychology? That sounds kind of weird, but how does that really play into building a channel that drives results?
You guys, the psychology of the viewer is everything. It's the building block, it's the foundation of the whole entire building. If you don't have that, you will not grow. For me, like I talked about this at Vid Summit, the psychology for me is for me, for example, I had to create audience avatars. I had to physically sit down and look at my, where my views are coming from, the sex of the person, the age, and then the location. And then when I saw that, I started creating these personas for these people, right? So there's Linda, right? Linda's in her 60s. Linda's starting to think about retirement. It's kind of freaking her out. She's kind of gone through menopause. Her face is very different now than it used to be. Her makeup isn't sitting the way it used to sit, but she's kind of accepted aging a little bit better. When I talk to Linda, when I make a video for Linda, I know how to talk to her. I know what she's freaked out about. I know what was worrying her. I know how to hook her at the beginning because I'm like, this is what's bothering you and let's solve the problem. Whereas when I talk to another audience avatar in their 50s, for example, early 50s, aging has just kind of really started to show for them and they're not accepting of it in the way that Linda is. So I can talk about different products because I know that they're really trying to like hold on to their 40s and 30s and it's freaking them out. So I know how to hook them differently. So without knowing who your audience is, there's no way to like speak to them in a way that they can relate and understand. And if you want your videos to do exceptionally well, like for them to go viral, you need to like deeply understand who you're talking to, present the problem that they're feeling, and solve the problem for them efficiently. They need to know that you get them,
Boy, that is so good. And for me personally, I probably made, this is ridiculous, but I probably made 40 videos targeting one search term because I knew if I hit it, the prize would be worth it. And I did, and I drove 1.9 million views. And the keyword phrase was the most powerful keyword phrase in my niche, which is like how to get more views on YouTube. And
Yeah.
I tried again and again. And one of the things like we talked about, and it's so cool how all these things, they all play together. One of the things I want to share is it's kind of like baking a cake for me personally. I have a culinary background and you can have all the ingredients, imagine all the ingredients on a table and a professional chef right next to you has the same ingredients. Is your dinner going to look like the professional chefs? Maybe not if you're just getting started. And then for me, how these ingredients all interact with each other. Like if I miss one thing, if I screw up the sugar on a cherry pie, it's not any good. It's not tasty, And for me, the psychology of the viewer is everything.
Yeah.
And how I would start the videos when they finally took off. Imagine publishing, 20 videos, 30 videos, and finally I published one and I nailed it. I really understood the viewer. Like they want the results. It seems overwhelming. What is something I can do to get results a little bit faster? And when I began with that thing, I really reflected what was in their head. Because it's not about me. You get this, Gabby. It's about
Yeah.
them. And thank you so much for sharing that. Now, with that, let's kind of go polar opposite. And I'm curious what you're going to say here. What do you think if you had to choose, like there's one secret, there's one thing that is so powerful when it comes to growing a YouTube channel, what would you share?
Yeah. So I think that the most important thing right now is authenticity. I can share a story regarding this, but I don't think that was the case 4 years ago or 5 years ago. I think it was aspiration. So I think back 4 years ago, a lot of the creators, especially in the beauty space, they were aspirational. They were larger than life. Their personalities were really different than what you would find in your day-to-day life. They looked so unbelievably beautiful that you would watch them and you're like, I want to be that person. They're so inspiring. The days of like the aspirational creator, I don't think is over, but I think the authentic, relatable creator has really risen. So now I think people are seeking content that's really relatable. It seems like a friend. It's honest and genuine. So the example that I have for this is that back in the day, all beauty creators used filters, and still to this day, many do. So they do a makeup tutorial. There's a skin filter on. It looks ridiculously beautiful because there's a skin filter on. And then everyone watches it and then they try it and they can't recreate it. And so what I like to do is I like to really study audience psychology by going on other people's channels and really reading the comments and sorting them and putting them in little like buckets. And what I started noticing is that a lot of people are constantly saying, yeah, but when I do that, it doesn't look like that on me because I have wrinkles under my eyes and it doesn't this and it doesn't that. And like, I'm telling you, I've been a makeup artist for 20 years. I've worked with supermodels. I've worked with celebrities. They have wrinkles under their eyes too, but everything is filtered. Right. So then what I did is I made a whole video about how to hide under eye circles when you have wrinkles. And I did it really super close up on my face. I muted my softbox so that it wasn't so blurring and beautiful. Like my softbox is on full force. That's why I look so like flawless right now. When all of it's done, you're a human being like everyone else. Right. And so I filmed that video. And I showed it really close. These are my wrinkles. These are the concealer falling into my wrinkles, just like it does for you. Here's a few tricks that will minimize it. It won't stop it because it's impossible to stop it, but it will minimize it. And I taught that. That video immediately went viral. Number one from day one. I think it has over 1 million views now. And we just posted it less than a month ago. And it's because it's authentic, it's relatable, and that's what people want. People want someone who they can see themselves in, you know what I mean?
I really love this. And I think authenticity is a word that it can mean a lot of different things to different people. And one of the things that I've heard in the past is just be yourself. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Be the best version of yourself for the audience, because we all are a little different. Like, if I go hang out at a job, which God forbid I ever have to work for somebody again, I don't think I could do that. But like, I would carry myself in a certain way. If I was out with my friends on a Saturday night, I would carry myself a certain way. If I was at a rock concert at the Rolling Stones, I'd be jumping up and down and singing and acting a fool. And all of those versions of myself are authentic. But I think this is, again, when we can tie these things together, we think, well, this is where my audience is at. These are the problems they have. In your case, like these wrinkles. And I've done a number of videos. I remember one where my pal Nick Nimmin said, wow, that was so authentic. And the way you captured the struggle of a YouTuber. And I showed my analytics where it was like literally like, the hourly views is like 2 views and then nothing, and then 1 view. And it's like, it's just so very challenging. But when you can show up and you can just be one of the people in the audience, like some of the things I've learned about marketing is saying something like, people like you and me, or for us, we're not those big YouTubers. Because honestly, I really don't like the title guru. I don't try to change people's mind because I just don't think there's value in that. Like, let them think what they're going to think. But I just think I'm stubborn. I'm really curious. I love to create, and I want to be the best version of myself possible. And also, like, sometimes I'll go a little over the top with the humor, and that's just kind of who I am, and that's authentically me. And other times I share a story of struggle. And, a few times, like when I went through my divorce, I got emotional, like, Jesus, there's no crying on a live stream. But that's just who I am. I'm an emotional dude. I'm a highly creative dude. Those things kind of come together. And I love that you shared that about authenticity, because the one thing I'll add for people here is that when you tap into your authentic self, nobody on YouTube can create like you can create, and it does not matter. And there's nothing that separates one channel from the next other than how you show up, how you speak, how you talk, how you communicate. If you say, well, I don't have any style, so, I don't have a brand or I'm not authentic. Well, that's your style. Having no style is part of your style. So I love that. I have another question here. We talked about like what would be the secret ingredient, and I love that answer, because I think so often what people are really looking for is a button to push. Do you think there's a button we can push? There must be something, right, that can increase our views?
No, and
I'm so sorry.
I struggle with this because when I was smaller, I wanted it so badly too, and I was looking and looking for that secret answer, that secret thing. At some point you have to accept, without letting it destroy you, that if you're not doing well, it's because you're not very good. Like your audience isn't resonating with you, because YouTube is it's just an algorithm. So if they're not clicking, they're not watching, they're not engaging, they're not watching for long, it just sends signals and then they don't give more impressions. So I even had a lot of, I see it actually often in the beauty industry, the huge beauty creators from before, their views and their engagement are way down because they're creating like they were creating 8 years ago. And that's just not what people want anymore. They don't want that over filtered skin, that perfect person, that they want more authenticity, right? And then they're complaining on their channels, YouTube shadow banning me, you're shadow banning you. Like, you haven't evolved. And because of that, the audience isn't into the content. If the audience isn't into it, they're not going, YouTube isn't going to promote it. It's an algorithm, right? At the end of the day.
Hey, Office Cooking, thank you for the question. I'll get to that in just a moment. And the super chat, much appreciated. Gabby, oh, goodness, I just love that, because I think the other superpower or super tip that I would share is how we think about our channel is so powerful. And I see a lot of people giving into the algorithm. And for me personally, in fact, I've had a conversation with a friend of mine for a few days now. And I say, there's certain things in life that I cannot control. And for me personally, the algorithm is one of them. I cannot control the algorithm, but I'm not helpless. Like if I just say, well, it's the algorithm's fault, that's fine. But for me personally, bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And when you do that, you're kind of giving up on your dream, and it allows you to feel, well, I didn't mess up. But the moment you take that power back, because when you say it's the algorithm, you're giving in and you're giving away your power versus
Exactly.
saying, well, there must be something that I can control, which
Yeah.
we spoke about, like authenticity, the lighting, the editing, showing up, communicating. I don't hear a lot of ums and ahs from either of us. It's almost like we just talk nonstop to a camera, and we're kind of comfortable because we've done it. How many videos have you made, Gabby?
Oh my God, there's probably 400 or more. I don't even know.
400. And how much time do you spend on one video striving to reach that thing what are you trying to reach with a video? Like, what are you trying to do when you're creating a video? What's that process like for you?
Yeah. So my videos are, you guys, my camera's going to time out in 2 minutes, and I'm going to click a button and I'll be back in a second. But
Yes, I had it, Gabby. You do that, and I'm gonna say hello, so we'll do that. Perfect.
Yeah,
See,
you do
you
that and then I'll
remember,
answer.
Gabby. I told you. All right, gang. I just want to say thank you so much for stopping in. Again, Office Cooking, thank you so much. When Gabby comes back, it looks like she's coming back right now. We'll get right to this question. In fact, let's just bring Gabby back in. And Office Cooking says, I've had the honor of meeting Gabby in person a couple of times. She is so nice and caring. Agreed, 100%.
Aw, thanks.
I thought there was someone calling. At what point did you realize that you could do it full time?
Oh, thank you so much for that comment. That's so sweet. Do you want to answer first, Brian?
No, that's for you, Gabby.
Okay. Okay, this is how I did it. So it's no surprise to people who know me that I am not I'm actually very academically, I have a degree in cognitive science. Like I have a very academic brain. So I don't just do things like without organization. So I had a salon. So what I did is at first I worked in my salon full time, and then I had a bridal business on the weekends. Okay. Then when YouTube started generating enough money that it replaced one salon day, I dropped the salon day and I did YouTube on that day. And then I worked my way into when I was eventually only doing 2 days in the salon, 3 days on YouTube, working on the bridal business on weekends. And then at one point, YouTube started generating so much income that I closed the whole salon down and I did just YouTube, because that, like, I did like a teeter totter. Like, I would start replacing days when it made sense financially. And then when YouTube started generating enough money that the bridal business no longer made sense, like working on the bridal business was losing me money because it was taking away time from YouTube where I was generating more money, then I closed the bridal business. So that's how I did it.
What an amazing answer. I love your story. And for me, like you asked, do I want to answer? I was full-time. So I actually went full-time online before there was YouTube and Facebook. And the only thing to do was build a website. And I think it was 2002. So 22 years ago, incredible. And that gave me the luxury to come in and just kind of pace myself. And I had, some money was coming in from other projects, which is so cool. And for those of you thinking like, well, what about the money? I'll just kind of riff on this for a minute. And then Gabby, I'd love to get your answer on this too. I want to encourage everybody here to think big. And I don't know how big I think at this point. I still make pretty good money and it still comes in. But what's so amazing is I have projects that I started so many years ago, like about 15 years ago, that pay me thousands of dollars every month because of just little decisions I made. And one of the things I think about as far as being an entrepreneur and being a YouTuber is that along the way, you can have an opportunity to create an income stream and you never know what's going to happen. And in one example, I was smart enough. I almost struggle to say that, but I started a kind of a side domain business where I could sell domains and I reduced the price. So all my customers got very cheap domain names. I had a product, it sold 3,000 or 4,000 copies, and about 1,000 people started buying all their domain names through me. And today I still make thousands of dollars a month. And that's just the power of the internet. It's just so amazing. And furthermore, the other thing I want to add, and then Gabby, I can't wait to hear your answer, is please do not devalue what you bring to YouTube, and do not get hung up on the value you bring is based on the subscriber count, because it is not. It is not based on views and subscribers. It's based on human beings. It's based on an audience. What you can look at is, do you see the same people coming back? Gabby mentioned watching my videos again and again. That is a true fan. And like when you start developing those, that is what a brand will pay you for, because you've built up trust. And I wrote the book on trust. You've established trust, and that's why brands pay people. So as you get started, focus on the audience first, but be open to the possibility and the potential. What do you think, Gabby, about the money part? And talk a little bit about like, what does that look like for you today? So how often do you go into the salon now?
Yeah, I don't take clients at all anymore unless they're for video content.
Okay.
And so I don't, this is my full-time job, and I'm making exponentially more than I ever made running my other businesses. I want to talk a little bit. I'll tell you this, but then I want to say something. Can I spin off of what you just said? Because it was very inspiring to me. And I really want people that are watching this, that aren't huge, that are getting approached by brands, to not get taken advantage of. So that's a huge problem as a smaller creator. And it's a huge problem in our industry. And I got taken advantage of so much when I was a smaller creator too. And I just have to tell you something, like as a makeup artist who's worked on set, who's worked on commercial sets, right, for advertisers, when someone is making a commercial, they have so many expenses. They have studio rental, they have photographer, editor, model, makeup artist, hairstylist. Those expenses to create the commercial is exponential. And then they don't have the target audience to serve that commercial to yet. So that's before paid advertising, right? To get the commercial on the Super Bowl or this or that or this or that, or on Google Ads or whatever. When brands reach out to you, even if you have 2,000 subscribers, those are 2,000 people that are committed to what you're saying and that believe and trust you and that you've built an authentic and genuine relationship with. So all of a sudden, you're cutting that brand's costs down by all of the production that they don't have to do, but you're also serving this ad to a group of dedicated viewers who are really interested and who trust you. And that's like, that has so much value. And so whenever I talk to these younger creators at different events and they're charging nothing, or they're doing this for product, I'm like, don't do that, because it really is a bigger company taking advantage of someone that just doesn't know, you know?
Man, I love that. And the other thing I would add to that too is, excuse me, still getting over a bit of a cold. We both talked about so much about honoring the audience, knowing the audience. What I want to be constantly doing is I'm always thinking, what do they want to watch? And I know you do the same. Like you talked about, like if I'm making a video and the target audience is a female in her 60s and she's coming to this place of peace, that's different from the person that's, 49, 50, just entering into the 50s, which is kind of it's a new ball game, and we all go through that. So for me personally, I really don't do a lot of brand deals. It has to really make sense, because I'm kind of like focusing on a brand instead of the audience. And that can work really well as long as there's an alignment with the product and the service that I'm talking about. And, we're going to give you a free thing. Nuh-uh. Not for me.
I know it's such a challenge, Brian, because like my income comes in different. I have multiple income streams. So my first income is AdSense revenue, right? Of course. And a lot of people say like, oh, AdSense revenue is pennies. When you've built your channel, AdSense revenue is absolutely not pennies. I'll just tell you guys, like, I'm just going to put it all out on the table because we're all friends here, right?
Let it rip.
Yeah. Like we average at least 20,000 on AdSense revenue a month.
$20,000. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And that's an average, there's months where it's more, months where it's a little bit less.
Sure.
But once you've built your channel to be really healthy, right? You've already established that audience that comes back over and over and over again. You're going to get those views. So AdSense revenue is a really good income stream once you get there. And then we have,
it's amazing.
because I talk a lot about products, we do affiliate sales. So there's lots of affiliate portals that you apply for. And if you're at like a certain level, you'll get into them. And then every single thing I talk about on my channel, and every video has like 30 products. Every single link is an affiliate link. And that's another thing I didn't know when I had started. I didn't even know that, 2 years ago. I really thought, affiliate marketing, it's like 5%, it's this or that. Like our channel averages, like $10,000 a month on affiliate revenue only.
Oh, it can be such an incredible revenue stream. And the thing I just want to piggyback off that is that I think it's really important that we each value our own channel in a unique way, because just because someone says it's a scam or it doesn't work, that has no bearing on what you may be able to do. One person might do really well with merchandise, and then you can't sell any merchandise because your audience is more geared to an affiliate product.
Yes.
Or maybe a live training from me, for example, like a coaching program. So, just staying open to the possibility.
I have a friend who has an amazing channel. She doesn't do any brand deals because she hates them. She finds them so annoying to do. But in the month of November alone, she made $200,000 in affiliate sales.
Yeah, there you go. I think, again, it's just really understanding your audience. And the thing I just want to put an explanation point on this. If you're watching right now and making money is really a big part of what you want to do, if it's the driving force, Nothing is more powerful than starting at the beginning and creating a plan for your channel that is based on something that can earn money. And you might be thinking, but
Yeah.
how do I do that? Well, you can reverse engineer. You can think, well, I could do a gaming channel and that sounds fun and that's cool. But if you really want to make money, you might also be able to do tech reviews, or maybe you're very skilled at
Yeah.
something like teaching YouTube. Like for me, I've been an internet marketer. So I taught people how to self-publish on Amazon. I came up with a really cool program that allowed people to self-publish kids' books because the bar to entry was low. You don't need to write a lot of
Oh,
words for children's books. So it was really a cool model. And I made really great money. And then I had another program where I taught people how to sell Halloween costumes. And so like you can move forward and you can really think about like, what are the skills that I have? What are the passions that I have? Or for me, and here's what's really weird, like when I think about YouTube is I had been doing this for a while with my marketing, but when I started, I was like zero subscribers, zero views. And I like, who writes a book on, I got 5,000 subscribers as a YouTube guru, but I didn't care what people thought. Like I thought I was writing a report. I had to go away for a week and I ended up writing a book and I got a lot of hate, oh my God, you're teaching but I didn't really talk about YouTube until I was probably at, again, maybe 5,000 subscribers, which is nothing, but there
yeah.
was still a small audience and they grew and they built. And I did too. So I think, the more you can really plan it out from the beginning, knowing that in the end, I'm going to sell these kinds of products. I'm going to make this kind of digital product, or I'm going to do coaching. And you can look for points of success in other channels. There were a lot of people teaching YouTube, and I just thought I hadn't done that. I'd done self-publishing and internet marketing and affiliate marketing and all these things. It just goes to show you anything is possible online.
Yeah, and don't think small, like there is such a huge opportunity to do so many different things. Like even as another example, I have another friend in the fashion niche and she does webinars every other weekend. They're just 2 hours. You pay to get a ticket. She goes in, she does like all these fun, she's a fashion YouTuber. So she calls it Shop Your Closet, where she'll give you look inspirations. You're not allowed to go shopping and you have to shop your closet, put them together, send in photos to her in advance. She presents them. She says, okay, this person in this webinar, this is what you did right. This is what you did wrong. How about we try this? And she makes a killing on those webinars. Like, I think we have to think big. We have to, when you're an entrepreneur, you can create opportunities. You can create something that doesn't exist. And that's what we're doing, right? We created something from nothing. There's so many opportunities to create all these other pockets of things from this one thing that you created that started as nothing.
Fantastic. Wow. Just really, really appreciate you being here, Gabby. And this has been so great. I have a few more questions here, and then I think we'll take some questions from the audience. And then we'll go about it another 20 minutes or so. And then, it's Friday night, can we just hear it for Gabby? She's here. It's Friday night and she's got kids and her husband's like, where's my wife? And she's hanging out with us. So again, thank you so much, Gabby. I just want to say thank you. Here's another question for you. So we talked about the power of two things. One was authenticity. And then I mentioned, I think if I had to choose one, I would say mindset. I think that's really powerful. But if you
Yeah.
had to add like maybe two more things, like, what are really the most important things that we can focus on as YouTube creators to get the results we're after?
Okay, I'm going to tell you guys like the answer that you want. Okay, that's not like a flu answer, like be authentic. It's like, something that you can do today. Okay, so the
Perfect.
first thing is you have to improve your thumbnails. And this is how I think about my thumbnails, okay? The person doesn't know who you are, right? At all. And it's being presented in homepage amongst all these other thumbnails of different topics that viewer is interested in. How do you make your thumbnail stand out? I know a lot of people talk about thumbnail, but I still don't think it gives you enough attention. If your thumbnail isn't good, it doesn't matter how good your video is because you'll never get the click. So you'll never get the views. So something that we've started doing here on the channel is so there's a girl that works for me named Lori. Oh, Lori's in the chat. Oh,
Oh, I
Oh
see
my
her.
God.
Lori
Lori
Cadman.
Cadman. Oh
Cadman,
my
yeah.
God. This girl, you guys, she is my second hand. She is just such a huge part of the success of the channel. So she'll design, I'll tell her, this is the concept of the video. We'll brainstorm. And then she'll design like 15 different versions of the thumbnail. We'll take them all out so we see them as little squares all beside each other. And I'll immediately know this one, and this one. And then I'll A/B test them. So in the back end of YouTube, you can upload up to 3 thumbnails and YouTube will A/B test them for you. So as soon as I release a video, I'll upload 3 versions of the thumbnail, and they are often very different versions. And I'll watch them, and it's insane because YouTube will show you the percentage that they're clicked on. And sometimes the thumbnails that I like the most will do the worst because, I'm thinking about certain things like, oh, I look prettier in that thumbnail, things that don't matter to the viewer, right?
Exactly. That's such a good point.
Yeah. So, testing thumbnails, making multiple thumbnail variations is very important because if you notice your average view duration is down, move on to the next freaking thumbnail. You got to change out the thumbnail or you'll crush your views if you don't do that, within the first at least 10 hours.
Wow, I love that. And the thing I would add to that, and this kind of goes along with what you shared, Gabby, and it's always fun to bounce ideas off someone, is that you mentioned, well, I look great in this thumbnail, but it's not about that. And the thing I always share is it's really about creating a compelling message. Like aesthetically, I always struggled with thumbnails a bit. And yet I think my thumbnails early, they were really fun and had kind of a cartoon kind of look. And then I got to this place where I just did big red thumbnail in a couple words, but the words were like, stop uploading, grow faster on YouTube. What the hell is that all about?
Yes.
And it's like, it compels someone to click. So it's really, for me, it's always been about creating a compelling message. And it's
Mhm.
not about how visually pleasing your thumbnail is. And furthermore,
Exactly.
one of the phrases I've talked a lot about lately is a big idea. So what is the big idea about your video? And like the one that you mentioned where you've gotten, I think, 1 million views in a few months, and it was very authentic. And you said, like, here's the reality. I have wrinkles too.
Mhm.
And here they are. Like that to me is really a big idea, and it's bold and it's vulnerable. And I think you can start from that place and then you start building the thumbnail. Like, I don't know what your thumbnail looked like, but I see wrinkles or some kind of thing
Yeah.
that is like evidence, like, oh Lord, that's not, I'm here for beauty. It's like, well, the truth is this. And
Yeah.
it's a bit contrarian. Big
Yeah,
word.
so that thumbnail was just my eyes really close. And I showed how to do your makeup so that you get a lifted look, like an airbrush look, and how a lot of people do their makeup and it looks really like wrinkly and dry, like the mistakes they're making versus the way you should do it. And I showed really close up, and on the good side, I had an arrow pointing up. So it was like lift. And on the
Mm,
bad side, I had an arrow pointing down because I looked
mm.
like older and wrinklier. And it's those types of visuals that the audience wants to see. Arrows, X,
So was it almost
check
like
mark.
the before and after style?
Exactly. It was like a before and after, but it was very like, whoa. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. It's, well,
Yeah.
it's interesting because you're like, don't do this, which is sort of, it's in alignment with the before and after, which we think we created that, but that's nonsense. They've been
Yeah.
doing it in marketing agencies like diet pills, like the before and after for ages and so on. So
Yes.
that's one thing. What would be another thing, Gabby, that you would say would be the next thing that's really important to look at in terms of, this is really important for the success of my video that I'm publishing next?
Yeah, the next thing that I spend an enormous amount of time crafting is the first 30 seconds.
Hmm.
So you need an extremely strong hook, and there can't be like diddle daddling. Like I always think about it, even at my channel size now, if someone clicks on my video, they don't know who I am. And so they're watching for them, not for me. So I can't be like, hey guys, oh my God, I had such a long week with my kids. Like no one cares. Like no one cares about you unless you're a celebrity, right? So you have to like give them what they want, like boom, right away, and then like get into it. So what I like to do is I like to use a very strong sentence hook at the beginning. Then I like to outline what the viewer will get from watching the video. So they know, almost like a chapter, but like more organic, right? Although it's completely scripted. It seems like it's not, but it is. So we got our hook, what they're going to gain, let's go. So I always aim to have my intro at the absolute most be like 45 seconds or under. Yeah. Because I've noticed in the back end, if we extend out further than that, we have a huge drop at the beginning, that hockey stick effect, and we're trying to minimize that effect. Another trick I do often that works very well is if I had a moment in the video that was really shocking, like I did a makeover on this woman in her 70s, and I said to her, she had really long hair, like down to her waist, and was all up in a bunch. It was all white hair. And I said, can I see your hair? And she goes, oh, you want me to take it down? And I said, yeah, take it down. She goes, right now? And I said, yeah, take it down. And then I went and I undid her hair. And then it was this very emotional moment. So I took that part of the video, which was in the middle, I moved it to the front. So it started without any intro. It just started in that, you want me to take my hair down? And then all of a sudden the viewer's like, what? And then right after that moment, I did my hook. Today we're going to talk, today I'm going and giving this woman a makeover, blah, blah. And so they wanted to see that part of the video so bad that they watched that whole to get to the middle. So I do that a lot too. I'll move really big moments to the front, but not give a resolution. Like it's unfinished.
Yes.
I'll move it to the front, do my intro, and then get into the video.
Man, that's great. And it's funny because I'm smiling because I did that a few months ago and it was a great video for me. Did probably 5 or 8 times more views than average. And the idea was there's this brand new feature on YouTube and I was generally excited about it. And it's interesting because I did absolutely amp myself up a little bit, but it wasn't inauthentic either. I was just like, wow, this is really exciting. And, and that moment, I kind of laughed a little bit. That was probably 2 or 3 minutes into the video. And I felt like the thumbnail and the title mentioned new and then exciting. And those are words that can be in the title. They can be in the thumbnail because really it's just, you're just compelling people. And then I took that moment where I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And that was my genuine reaction, amplified a little bit, which I think that's still somewhat authentic. I'm not just constantly pandering to the audience. And that did so good. And that really translated. I think that makes people lean in. Like it reminds me of this quote I always say, which is Maya Angelou: people won't remember what you said. People won't remember what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. So when you're asking that woman, well, what about taking your hair down? And what was her response? Oh, I'm not sure about that. And then you said, well, sure, go ahead. And she's like, well, right now? She's like, I'm still, no, like, here's my wall. And somehow you made that happen. And that was one of the things I always think about is my job is to elicit an emotional response from the audience. And I need to do that by creating an idea or thought that's contrarian. If everyone says it's this way, I'm going to go this way, or breaking down something that's hard to understand in a way that's easy, or making people laugh. And the thing that's so beautiful about YouTube is even when it's not working, it sort of is, as long as you can continue, because eventually, and this is how you blew up, Gabby, I did it again. You just became Abby. I don't know what the heck's going on. I apologize, Gabby. But that, I want to take this to the next question now. I think why don't you reset your camera one more time and then we'll go another 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll be, how does that sound?
For sure. Yeah. I'm here for whatever you need.
Let's do this. I want to say thank you so much for to Tony. Tony's been a coaching client of mine for a long time. He's done absolutely amazing with his gardening channel, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And Sean has been a longtime subscriber. Dude, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Another super chat. You guys are just, you're too kind. I believe it's easier than ever to grow and make money here on YouTube. Love your content. Thank you so much. And I just want to let everyone know that if you're here and you're thinking, you know, how can I, not that button. I almost hit the remove button. Don't do that. What was I going to ask you? I totally forgot what that was. Let's do this. I asked for two things. No, I think you did two. Oh, there's those stupid balloons again. I have one more question, and then we'll see if anybody has questions from the audience, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
I have two more questions. They go into each other. So the question is, if a friend of yours started a YouTube channel, let's say 6 or 9 months ago, and they really have been putting in the effort, and I'll qualify that. If you're watching and you feel like you've been putting in the effort, you've been uploading at least a video a week, you've been focused, you've been trying, and it's just not working, like, what would you share, Gabby? Like, how can someone turn it around?
Yeah. So I think what you have to do is you have to look objectively at the channel and see where the disease is and fix the disease. So I think I would start with watching the videos and checking the pacing. Is the pacing engaging enough? Is it fast enough? Are you doing enough call to actions to create engagement? So here's another really quick, fast tip, you know, that you guys want the secret answers. And this is one of them. Doing call to actions for engagement is very good. And I would never do it like, make sure to leave a comment down below, because that really supports me. Genuine, again, authenticity. So sometimes I'll say to my audience, I'll say, like, you guys, my birthday is coming up. I'll be talking about something and I'll say, I want you to leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite part of getting older is. Okay. If you're over 40, what is the best thing about being over 40? And people really want to be like, oh, my favorite thing. Like, make engaging questions for call to actions. So make sure, or giveaways are big for engagement as well. Obviously you can't always do that, but really, and I always say things too, like I'll try a product and I'll say, have you guys tried this one? Like, do you like it? What are you thinking? Is it too wet? Do you like it on your skin? What type of skin do you have? What skin problems are you facing right now? And those types of call to actions not only build my engagement, which then builds my views, it tells YouTube my video is good, but it also gives me future ideas for videos, because I'm getting in the viewer's head. I'm like forcing them to tell me what they think about, so that I can then take those questions or comments and I can turn them into a video that I know a lot of people will want to watch. So that's one thing. I would look at the pacing, the hook, the call to actions, the thumbnails, the titles, and I would see what needs improvement. Do we need an audio improvement? Do we need a visual improvement? Do we need more B-roll? And then we can start giving medicine to those diseases. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I just love that, because, like, literally I started writing another book, and I've kind of taught that for years now. And I've said, like, these are the most important things. And sadly, so many YouTubers, they're like, when's the best time to publish? I'm like, once you hit 100,000 subscribers, worry about it. But, like, when I just went to your channel and there was, like, your voiceover is so bad. There's no compelling story to pull me in. The pacing of the video, like you mentioned, the lighting, the audio, how you communicate, your on camera presence, so important. And instead of like looking for that secret ingredient, you know, I have this quote, what if the missing ingredient, or what if success wasn't about finding the missing ingredient, but rather deleting that which is holding you back? And if your audio is horrible, then people are clicking off and they can't engage because they're gone. They can't subscribe. So I just love that you echoed that, because for me, that's how I went from 1,500 subscribers a month to 7,500, because I really started getting more about the actual content and less about the YouTube algorithm, knowing that the way to trigger the YouTube algorithm is to make the kind of content that viewers love and engage with. And when I started doing that, guess what happened? It got better. And the one thing I'll add is, it can seem overwhelming, but what I would do is I would just say one thing. I'm going to publish a video. And then I think you mentioned this, Gabby. I'm going to go back, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to be objective. And
Yeah.
like if you say it's so hard, I can't see what's wrong with my videos. I want to encourage you to change that around. Take
Yeah.
that story that you're saying and you can't figure it out and say, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna
Totally.
watch this. I'm gonna be objective. And then I'm going to find one thing, like my editing is kind of lackluster. I could add a few things, or my audio
Mhm.
really needs improving. And I would not move to the next thing until my audio got better. And it might
Yeah.
be 5 videos. I might spend 6 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, but I would keep making videos because that's important. And I
Yeah.
would strive to improve the audio. And then when that was done, then it's on to the editing or the lighting. And now it's like when you constantly do that, you will absolutely get better. So Gabby, thank you so much for sharing that because
Yeah.
it's the way.
Well, you know what it is, right? Like you can be objective without being self-deprecating. And I think some
Right.
people think if they look at themselves objectively, it's like a depression thing, like it's a self-deprecation, but there is no growth without mistakes. I tell my kids this
Right.
every day. You know, if you're not making mistakes when you're playing piano, it's because the piece is too easy.
Yes,
So
exactly.
right? So I look at my content and I always think, how can I make this 1% better? Like, okay, my audio is a little echoey. I should turn off my air conditioning next time I film because that was distracting. Or, you know, it was a little too bright. You couldn't see very much skin texture. I need to turn my softbox down. It doesn't have to be huge things. Like, objectively look at every video and say, how can I make this 1% better? Just one thing better. And when you do that for 100 videos, it's 100% better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Mhm.
wonderful. Well, I want to respect your time. If you want to stick around a few more minutes, if we have questions, feel free. Or if you've got to go take care of family things, I get it. I'll just say again, thank
No.
you so much. Do you want to hang out for a few more minutes or?
Yeah, I love
Okay.
being here.
If anybody has any questions, well, this would be a fantastic time. Just go ahead and drop them in. I think I had one more question myself, just until we get a question. I go live, no mistakes. You're not learning, not yet. Okay, this is kind of in alignment with what we've been talking about, but let's just start here. Why do most YouTubers fail, Gabby?
Why do most YouTubers fail? I think it's because there's a lot of learning.
Hmm.
It takes a lot of time to get it. And the results, you have to be very resilient to failure because you will fail and fail and fail and fail and fail. And you have to be okay with that and keep changing and up without having it become depressing or self-deprecating. You know what I'm saying? I think that's one of the biggest reasons people fail. There's too much to learn and there's very little to gain for a long time. And then once there is something to gain, there's a lot to gain. But I think a lot of people give up before they get there because it's depressing when you put 20 hours a week into a video and you get 20 views.
Oh, absolutely. And I lived through that myself, and it's such a journey of discovery, self-discovery and learning about yourself. And for me, I don't know why, but I've always just really enjoyed creating. So I think for some reason I just have this ability to continue when most people don't. But I think
Yeah.
that's a really big part of it, is just staying on track and getting really um, honest with your expectations, or trying to do away with expectations at all, because it's so easy to look at a big YouTuber and go, well, why do they have all this over here? And it's like, well, they've published 500 videos and they've been doing it for 7 years and you just
Yeah.
started. That's ridiculous. Here's a good question right here. Two questions. Gabby, how do you know when you're asking enough to a brand? In other words, how can we get the value that we're truly worth? How do we work that out?
Yeah, this is very, 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 very challenging. This is a great question, and it's not an easy one because it's niche dependent, and it depends a lot on your conversion to sales. So oftentimes, when a brand wants you to talk about something, it's because they want that piece of content to then convert to sales. So what I really recommend and what I've done is I track everything. So I'll usually use some type of link that connects me to an affiliate portal, and I'll ask the brands, can I have an affiliate commissions for this, even if it's something small, that I can then go back and I know, okay, when I publish this video, for example, when I was much smaller, I did a video for a blow up brush called Tymo. And I had this link, and I saw within 3 weeks of publishing that video, I sold $80,000 worth of blow dryer brushes in less than a month. So I thought, okay, I charged $1,000 for that. They made, more than $80,000 within, and that return of investment for them was like half a day. So that tells me I'm charging way too little, because that's evergreen content that's going to be on the internet for years and years and years, constantly generating more sales. So what I do is, because I'm a data-driven person, I track and analyze everything. So I know how many products are getting how many clicks and how many hours. I know how many of those clicks convert to sales. So then when I'm negotiating with a brand, we present the data. So for example, you want me to talk about something for 1 minute, that's going to be $7,000. And the reason that it's going to be $7,000 is because for this brand, this brand, this brand, and this brand, when I did that, I sold this much. So you're going to make your return of investment in 2 weeks. And, I can prove that with numbers. I can prove that with graphs. So that's kind of how I worked it out, but it's very niche dependent and dependent on what you're doing too.
Man, what a great answer. I love that. The one thing I would add is that in the beginning, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting some brand deals under your belt. And then you can look at the data and you can see how you're doing. Here's a question from your team member, Lori. She says, how do you handle negative comments as you grow?
I love that comment that Lori said, because
I bet. I'm like, there's an inside story here.
yeah, because I'm going to be like very vulnerable and real. Like, it's lately been really getting to me. So much so actually that Lori does, like quite a bit of reading comments every morning to kind of filter through as many as she can.
Well, that's
good. Because I think you have to recognize as a creator that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and you're not going to make everyone happy. And that's okay, but it can't suffocate you so much that then you stop being able to create, or you start losing yourself in the content because you're trying to like be this perfect robot that never makes anyone upset. So bless Lori's heart. I guess if you have someone, if you don't have team members, even if you have like a husband or a wife that can quickly read through some comments in the morning and kind of delete the ones that you shouldn't see, then I recommend that, because it actually really does it gets to me anyway.
It's interesting. When we talk about hate comments, I'm saying this for Opus clips. So Opus, make me a good clip here. I remember you coming in and defending me. I had the most horrendous hate comment. I was just returning to YouTube. Now imagine my story is like, I got to a place where I was driving 500,000 views per month, which for this niche is fantastic. I was an A player. I was at the peak of my performance. I was firing on all cylinders. And then I went through this really tough divorce, and I just needed time to rebuild me. And I came back some 4 years later, and I put out this vulnerable video, and this guy came in and he was like, Brian, your ex-wife left, your viewers left, the brands left, get over it, grow up. And man, it just really hit me. And one of the things I want to share personally is that it ebbs and flows based on where I'm at. And for me today, I really couldn't give a crap, because I know the value that I bring, and I'm not tied just to views and subscribers. I want them, but I've been doing this a long time. There's a reason why I'm typically a speaker at an event. There's a reason why, people buy my programs. There's a reason why I don't have a ton of views, but I have an audience that keeps coming back. And I think the more we can honor, what we bring to the table, the better. And furthermore, I think it's important to understand that we're human. And that when someone says something icky, we're designed in a psychological way, because like otherwise we would have been eaten by a tiger millions of years ago, that we noticed that, oh my gosh, there's a threat. But the fact of the matter is 90%, it's really a reflection on the commenter. And the other 10% is, I don't know, people are unhappy. And Gabby, I hate that for you, because you're such a ray of light. You're so sweet and you're so caring and you want good things for people. It's so evident. I want to respect your time. I want to say thank you so much for coming on. And for everybody here, thank you for stopping by. It's great to do another live stream on a Friday. I'm going to do my best to hit Friday and go live in the afternoon, early evening. So look for that. This next Friday, I'm taking a bit of a vacation, going to be down in Florida. Goodness, that is going to be amazing. This road trip I've wanted to do for a long time. Gabby, again, thank you so very much. And listen, if you're watching and you're wondering, is it possible for me? I'm just not sure. I don't know all this technical stuff and the cameras and the lighting. Either did I. Gabby didn't know. She talked about 1,000 subscribers in 1 year, uploading multiple videos a week. Do it anyway. Decide it shall be. Kick down the door of opportunity. Announce your arrival wherever life may take you, and just watch what happens. You dig? Thanks for stopping by.